What's up, guys? I'm Alex from Crybaby, and we're here chatting with Milky. So we've been a band for about a year now. Started here in Brooklyn, New York. We are in McGolrick Park right now. Joey's house is just stone's throw from here. I can see it. It's behind all of you at home. And I responded to Joey reaching out. He put a call to action out there looking for a singer, basically. And I knew that Joey produced some stuff before, and I'd known him kind of lightly before. Honestly, didn't even really like each other very much. It wasn't like that deep, but you know what I mean. It was like one of those things where you're like, oh, I don't know if I really, I'm gonna hang out with this person independently. But when he put up that thing on his Instagram story, I responded and went by his house, and we were just talking music. Quickly found that initial impression was wrong, pretty off base. We had all these things in common, including like pretty niche artist or relatively niche artists that we were both listening to, and kind of the music we wanted to make. And Joey put on a couple demos. One of them was Hollister, like a little instrumental clip, and yeah, I don't know.
The DMs work. That's what you need to know. Always shoot your shot.
It was good. Kind of step by step, I think the nice thing about having a year under our belt and kind of a full project under our belt is that we've gotten to know sort of every part of the cycle. So that goes in like from, inspiration phase to writing phase to sort of putting a bow on all that stuff sound wise, and then transitioning a little bit more to like a social media image kind of thing. And so every step along the way over this last year, that was not the first time that we were all doing this. Like, we've done other projects and stuff before, but definitely the most coherent and serious way that we've all done it. So we have a really good idea or a much better idea now, year in, what that's going to look like for us going forward. I think we've like laid a really good groundwork to go forward. Yeah, and it feels like it's a first like offering out into the world that we're all really proud of, and is like pretty representative of, I think, a sound that's unique to us, and an aesthetic that's unique to us, and something that we've had like a lot of fun with in sort of all aspects, social media, sound and visual. But yeah, like building that cohesion and that foundation for stuff that sounds and looks and acts like us in the future. We're looking forward to that.
Well, really, just for like this whole EP was our first round of songs that we made together as a group. So that putting that out was, I feel like, super huge. It was kind of the culmination of a whole year's work of us getting to know each other, getting to know what the music was going to be like. It all happened in real time. So now it's kind of a different experience where having a little bit more under our belt, we're able to kind of take our time, push ourselves a little bit more instead of just kind of jumping at the first thing that we reach for.
One of the main like emotional themes is limerence, or something of the sort, processing like your new experiences through the lens of something that you've lost, and in this case would be a past relationship, for me, but kind of the stages that go along with that. Not necessarily, I don't think this was like really thought out that much too deep going in. It just that ended up being the overarching message, when it was all said and done at the end of like the 5 songs that we recorded. But it's got like tinges of like excitement that come with coming out of a breakup, sadness and bitterness that come out of coming out of a breakup, and like self-reflection, and kind of like maybe experiencing the world on your own, for the first time in a little while, and what that's like. Beyond that, some of the sonic like themes are and visual themes from the single covers and some of the video stuff, very 2000s inspired, kind of Disney Channel inspired in a sense. Like I would say, and that we've thought this for a while, and it's very validating to hear a lot of people say this to us, like unprompted, is something along the lines of like, I could see this being played in the credits of like a Disney movie, Lizzie McGuire, yeah, type. So we would like to think if that was, in 2024, we could slot in well to that, but and deeper than that. But we have fun with that kind of comparison.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of it, being in New York, us kind of finding each other, putting together this project, we were listening to a ton of New York artists. There's kind of like a thriving alternative rock scene, I would say, and kind of alt pop scene that's been popping up for like the past few years. Immediately, like me and Alex, like there were artists like James Ivy, like The Life, Harry Teardrop, DBA James, Middle Part, like some really awesome artists in the city that I felt like pushed us in a lot of ways of trying to like, wow, we're consuming all this stuff, we love this stuff, but then trying to make it our own and kind of exploring all the other areas of our lives that are very different than that, whether that's like club music or singer-songwriter music. I feel like we have a wide spectrum of what we're into, a lot on Nickelback as of late, but that didn't quite make the EP this turn around, but maybe next time. But I feel like kind of taking all those things, for us it was just kind of throwing it all at the wall and seeing what was going to stick. So each song we kind of tried a different approach. They all came out a little different, which was super fun. But in that discovery, it was like really playful. We could like, Hollister like started with literally just a break beat and playing some guitars on it that made me feel like I was in like Dawson's Creek, or like any of that boy band 2002 scene. That was super playful, and we didn't know if that was ever going to become a song, but then once we started writing to it, things started to kind of click, and we found our sound kind of in real time, which was super exciting. I mean, I feel like a lot of it will start with just kind of like a 10-second, 20-second clip of usually like a chorus or something of just a really kind of rough idea, and then I think me and Alex a lot of times end up in there first kind of working through things, and our guitarist Carter, they're always great at keeping the process new and changing and different. I feel like we all have such different tastes that it's fun when you're actually starting to get some traction going, you're starting to write verses, you're starting to get lyrics down, to kind of come together as a group in that way and help push the ball along. Because I think it's really easy sometimes to feel stuck or feel stagnant. And I think for us, like getting in literally my bedroom right across the road here, getting in there and playing things on loop for hours and like trying to write new lyrics and like have this kind of writer circle going is always super rewarding in the end, because we end up getting a product that like honestly usually is not what we thought it was going to be at first. It turns into a whole nother thing, which is exciting.
I think we have refined our overall process a lot, just like everything else, in terms of social media stuff or in terms of visual cohesion. But like our creative process writing wise, I think is streamlined a lot, and now when we're approaching new music writing stuff, it feels pretty practiced. And I think like a great thing about that, especially with having collaborators, which I haven't like this ever before, it's made me embrace reworking things and not avoiding rewriting a part just because it seems tough or like, oh, that's good enough. That mindset hasn't prevailed well, and I think for good reason, in the stuff that we've been making, especially of late. If something feels weak, or especially judging it off like the strength of parts that come after or before it, then is a good reason to bolster that out and just totally rewrite it. And that can be frustrating, but it's a good learning exercise, and it is very doable. It's very doable to like get outside the box that you've created in a section of song and create something that meets your standards of what you want, in a product. And I didn't do that before, but now we're doing that a lot. We're rewriting stuff like all the time. It's crazy. Yeah, it's I'm sure like most people do, but yeah. Should we all say it on 3?
Oh yeah, let's
Should we all say it on 3?
All on the same one.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Hollister. Yeah, there you go. Nice.
I think when I first heard your guys' stuff, the only songs that were out were Hollister and Pretend, which I was obsessed with both before joining. So that was super cool to kind of, get my hands on those. But yeah, I think those were both just really powerful songs for me. I've always loved the bridge in Pretend, and especially when we play that live, it's super fun. It kind of just always feels like a turning point in the set for us, and I definitely kind of see that in the crowd as well. So I always find myself coming back to that song. I mean, I'm still a fan of this band first. So yeah, it's still on repeat. That song is fantastic, I think.
Yeah, let's see, a lyrical motif or something like that. I think, that is a good question. I would say, yeah, the Pretend bridge, like in general, is a favorite moment of mine. On the recording, but mostly live, I think it turns into a whole new thing. I think lyrically, there's one in Best Shot, I think, in the bridge of Best Shot, and it's like, every piece of me you thought that you stole, or something like that. And I think that's kind of the vibe of a lot of the lyrics, are kind of, yeah, I said this earlier, but framed through the lens of heartbreak or, breakup. And yeah, that's one that I get not necessarily emotional about live, but like it's a fun emotional experience to perform it live. So that's, yeah, probably one of my favorite parts.
When we finished One Thing, that was a song that I was super proud of, just because I felt very satisfied with those. Like the melody of that and kind of the lyrical content it was moody, but it was catchy, and I think kind of painted a picture of what it feels like to kind of be just bopping yourself around Manhattan sad, being dragged to event and wondering, what else is there out there in the world. I think that I really felt that in that song, and the chorus is always so fun in that, to be able to do chants and little gang vocal moments. So always a fun one.
What's it say?
One thing, two things. This year we're going to get 3 things. I'll let Alex take most of this, but I'll say social media in general is something that early on we realized that we did not want to fear or be burdened by, but embrace. And I feel like that has kind of been the mantra of like, let's have fun with this. Let's kind of put an equal amount of attention and or love into that as you would even the music, because that is kind of the constant medium that we're engaging with an artist in. An artist might only put out a handful of songs a year, but they're going to be putting out social media posts almost every single week, and that's like, I think that platform, that medium is something that can be used to not only like promote your music, but I think for us it was this other artistic expression that is fun, it's playful, we get to be witty about it, we get to kind of push ourselves in the video editing and get to collaborate with friends. So I think that was something that early on we were like, if we can find something that works in the space, we're probably not only like gonna be able to reach more people, but probably be happier doing this instead of feeling like we are just playing catch up or throwing stuff up on the internet that we're not really into.
Social media is just a necessity of the music landscape, and we talk to a lot of artists, and I understand, the perspective of being really worn out on social media, or that it's a grading thing, but it's just a reality of the job. And if that's not something that actually, I believe that any artist that has anything to say can make a social media offering that is enjoyable to them, that is like true to their artistic vision. And like Joey said, that's definitely something in terms of like sustainability for artists that we wanted to carve out early on, because it's just going to be a part of what we do. But now we have a lot of fun with it. We're lucky to be able to do everything like in-house, and I recognize that not everybody is able to do that. Joey's really good video editor. We shoot stuff on phones, but we've got, we've invested in like even just a mic, and these might seem like small things, but just sort of signaling to a more professional offering to videos goes a long way. And then we also put a lot of thought into it, and we have fun with it. When we're writing longer form videos, we want a lot of our promotional content to be value adding. I mean, promotional stuff can be so grating, and it just is, and it's like spamming, and people don't want to do that. And especially in New York, we have a lot of friends and artists that we look up to. Sometimes those are one and the same, and they're very mysterious, individuals, and they have a perfectly curated visual aesthetic, online, but there is no promotional offering to that, and I get why it's not there, but you do have to kind of bridge that gap to go to, I think, the next level, and that's something that scales really well, and of course, it's a tale as old as time, or as old as TikTok now, where like you can experience exponential growth, on social media platforms. And so if you just stick with it and have some kind of value adding content, you're not just saying like tickets on sale now, like come to our show, please come to our show. If you don't come to our show, blah, 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 blah. It's like that stuff. I get why people do it. But I don't think it's great. I think it's nice to make something funny. Like an example is like we did, like a TikTok or a Hinge. I turned my Hinge into like a band profile, and we did a video around that promoting our New York show, or a New York show, and we got like the other artists, that's on the bill to be a part of that video, and it did really well. And we've done that same kind of format for shows going forward, where I think it's to the point where, or pretty soon I think it'll be to the point where people will expect that kind of video when shows are coming up, and hopefully people are looking forward to that kind of thing. And that is, I think, unique in a promotional effort, to have a kind of content that people are looking forward to. So that's great. We get a lot of good feedback in public about it, very validating, and like just at the end of the day, we really do genuinely have fun doing it. So as long as that's happening, I think we can expect to have some like fun content going forward.
I think the most I can say is just kind of energy. I had seen Crybaby play live before I joined the band. This was back in September, October, and the songs were obviously great, but I think what I noticed immediately was just how much fun they seemed to be having, and that really aligned with kind of how I like to be on stage. I mean, it's just such a blessing, and it's such a cathartic experience to be like playing music with your friends there. So I think once I got together with the group, it seemed to gel really well. And yeah, I mean, all the shows we played since have just been super fun, and I feel like as we're having fun and kind of bringing energy, it really kind of translates into the crowd as well. I certainly felt that when I saw them play, and it's been kind of cool to be on the other side of that, and feeling it kind of happen with the crowd. Yeah, maybe if our music hasn't reached a whole lot of ears, I think we kind of capture a lot of people's attention with just how much fun we're having and how the energy kind of transfers over to the crowd when we're playing. So it's just a super fun time, and I'm really stoked to kind of play these shows and play in front of a bunch of new people. So yeah, I hope everyone kind of has a blast when they come out.
We learn the songs really well. That is another thing. We're good at playing the songs. We put in a lot of work, so it pays off.
Yeah, I think this goes hand in hand with our social media aura or presence. And I think that there's an underlying earnestness, you know what I mean, to the live show that I think I always appreciate. When I'm a fan, I'm a pretty critical fan or viewer at shows, or whatever it might be, a movie or a concert. But I really appreciate it when people are having a good time, and that's not as easy as it sounds all the time. Sometimes you're not having that good of a time, but if you are projecting that you're not having a good time, that's your fault, you know what I mean? And I've done that a lot, but not necessarily at too many shows. I do it in practice a lot, and I bum these guys out, and I'm hard on them. Not so much Frankie, but definitely Joey. Actually, not really anybody else. Definitely Joey. I think in a live context, it's so important to realize that people have taken time out of their day, their night, their money out of their wallet to come see you play, and you owe it to those people to put on the best show that you can, and the best show that you can put on includes you at least looking like you're having a good time, because nothing worse than being in the crowd and seeing somebody up on stage, especially somebody that you really like or look up to or have been wanting to see for a long time. This would happen to me in Wisconsin. I'm from Wisconsin all the time, where I would have my favorite artists come through the city or through Wisconsin. It's the only time I could ever go see them, and I'd drive hours to go see them, and they would be taking a night off in Wisconsin on stage, but you know what I mean, kind of phoning it in. I want to be the band that's never doing that, you know what I mean, that is always like, you know, you come see Crybaby show and people leave, whatever they say about the music, hopefully they enjoy that, but I think everybody being on the same page, like those guys had a lot of fun on stage, and that's awesome. People love seeing that, and we do have fun. So I think that's hopefully the takeaway.
Fall Out Boy, My Chemical Romance, early Panic stuff, Paramore's huge. I mean, kind of all those really, you know, big formative bands of that era.
Justin Bieber.
Take This to Your Grave by Fall Out Boy. Huge deal for me. I'm a Chicago kid. Hometown Heroes taught me everything I know.
Lizzie McGuire. Yeah, probably is Lizzie McGuire. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
How's my hair? How's my hair? Is my hair looking good? Do they see how good my hair is looking? I don't know. Yeah, not much. Mostly that.
I gotta give it to my girl Hannah. Hannah, if we were a movie, that song, boom, done. That's a Crybaby song.
Yeah, we wrote that.
We wrote that stuff.
My Chemical Romance in 2011 feels like my biggest flex because they broke up after that tour. I think they've done like one little run since. Formative, life-changing.
Either the 1975, I saw them at the Rave in Milwaukee in like 2016, or I saw Pine Grove in New York. Boy, a couple years ago, that was absolutely incredible.
The Ramones. It would have been a Ramones CD. I'm not even sure which one, but I do remember crushing that. I love the Ramones. My uncle got me into them. God bless my uncle. And they rock.
Damn.
That's tough.
I mean, being a Spice Girl would be cool. I feel like I got to go with, I got to go with Backstreet Boy. I kind of feel like one with these guys.
Yeah, Backstreet Boy.
Oh, is that Backstreet Boys?
Stone Pony would be sick down in Asbury. Yeah, Jersey would be sweet. I don't know, maybe kind of a basic answer, but honestly, just I'm just like looking one step ahead. But just to kind of play bigger venues in New York, kind of where we're coming up through. So, I mean,
the ideal venue, bigger venue.
Bigger, absolutely. Reaching more people. Yeah.
Madison Square Garden. Yeah. I don't have a go-to. I sing usually a different song every time I do karaoke, but if I had to right now, it probably would be Yellow by Coldplay.
Our last New York show we played was at Union Pool, and we did a record release there, and it sold out, and it was super fun being there with a bunch of friends and people from the scene and getting to play that record finally just in full and do it big and do it loud. And a lot of people were jumping around having a great time. We got to decorate the stage up, and it was just really a special night. I feel like a lot of work and a whole year long of touring and trying to figure out how to do these things best live, like, all came down to that one show, and we didn't mess it up, and that was sick. It was awesome to play that and just feel on top of the world and super cathartic. It was great.
Deftones.
Deftones, Hollister.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Well, this isn't the music industry at large, but I think the music industry that we are operating in right now, which would be like the band industry, and for me it probably would be the 1975. I know that might be an interesting answer to that, but I think that they really brought back bands in a big way. They kind of created a whole subgenre that is what we understand like current day like pop rock to be, and yeah, the show aspect, I think the attention to visual, sonic, and just cohesion across every offering, that they do, and the camaraderie that they share. So I think that would be my answer.
Trust the process. Jeez. Feels like with us, when it rains, it pours. Like, a lot of times we're spent thinking, man, what are we going to be doing this next year? What are we going to be doing this fall? And then all of a sudden, give yourself like 2 weeks. You're booking tours. You're writing new music, meeting new people. I feel like that. Making insane amounts of money. This band is completely lucrative. It's awesome. But yeah, just trusting the process that, like, even if things are slow, when they pick up, and be ready to go.
I've never read one of those, so I don't really have an answer. Maybe if you guys read, you can have
the same. I do not know how to read, but I have been working on a book, my own book. I've been writing one, so I don't know how to read, unfortunately.
I read a lot of books, but what I'm going to have to go for right now is, it doesn't really matter what the title is. It doesn't really matter what the cover looks like. It just needs to be big, and you need to take that to a coffee shop, and you need to put that on the table, and you need to just leaf, and that is all you need. People will think it is incredibly impressive, and that has been kind of a daily ritual of mine for a long time now.
All My Friends by LCD Sound System. Yeah, that would feel great.
Taste by Sabrina Carpenter. That song's a bop. I was listening to that a couple times on the way here, and it sounds good.
Tears for Fears, Everybody Wants to Rule the World. That seems so fitting for the end.
I mean, music's always been like, I know this sounds kind of corny, I don't want to use the word escape, but I mean, I feel like I've been doing like a lot of things in my life. Music has not always been the most primary thing, but it's always been the most fun for me. And especially in these last few years, it's just really given me an opportunity to like meet people who I really connect with on a real personal level and have a lot of mutual interests. I mean, I feel like whenever I meet someone new, something to bond over is always music. Meeting the right people and playing with the right people. I mean, meeting this band has been such a blessing, and I feel like we gelled so quickly. And I mean, if you had asked me 2 years ago if I'd be doing something like this, I would have thought no shot. So, I mean, it's really all happened, and just music overall has given me some of the best moments and allowed me to meet the best people. And I think I don't enjoy anything more than just playing on stage and playing songs that I really love. So, yeah, I'm kind of just grateful to be able to do this, and really wouldn't want it any other way, to be honest.
Music is life. Music is love. Music is the air that we breathe, or the water that we breathe if you're a fish. Beyond that, I think it is, for me, a sense of purpose, that I haven't always been totally connected to through my entire life, but especially now in this band. Like Frankie said, I'm very grateful to have found everyone and be a part of this group, and I have a sense of hope and optimism about the future that I hope everybody can experience someday. So that lives all, in music, in the dream of pursuing that.
Yeah, I think for me, music was always just, especially performing live, that was just something that I love to do, and it felt very like an escape or like something physical that I could do with my body that makes sense. And as far as when it comes to writing, like being able to kind of be walking around and be struck by an idea or inspiration, then kind of running home and firing up the computer and making something, that's just been like kind of a theme of my life for the past like 6 years that I've been trying to do music in this way. So it's been really fun to have an outlet that I get to still keep doing. Even as I get older, I'm like still challenging myself and feeling like every day is kind of a new thing, which is super fun.
I don't really know if there was ever a specific moment, but my dad's a musician. I've always had music in my house, and I got a drum set pretty early on, and it felt really natural. And I think kind of just speaking to those bands I mentioned before, kind of in the early 2000s, and I mean, I was just glued to YouTube watching these guys play and listening to the music all day. And I mean, it's just something that you see and kind of feel like you want to do. And as you discover more bands and kind of new genres, I mean, it's just something more to chase. So yeah, I don't know if I could put a specific moment on it, but I kind of just look back for the past like 20 years or so and just the different artists I've gotten into and different concerts I've gone to, and it's just kind of made me more inspired each time. So yeah, I mean, I just keep getting more grateful, and it was definitely early on for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely early on for me as well. My dad always had really good music around. I don't have a very musical family in practice, but in the big listeners, and my dad always had some great records around, had a great record collection, and you know, into like my early childhood years, he was still current with like what was coming out. So at that time, that would have been like a couple Smashing Pumpkins records and like Metallica, and especially the Smashing Pumpkins early on for me. And I was obsessed with that. You know, I just like obsessed with the world that music can live in, and just the sonic landscape. And my friends started playing music when I was really young, and they didn't even have a like TV at their house. And so when I would go hang out at their house, I would just be sitting around watching if I didn't like learn how to play something. So that's kind of when the fandom, you know, was forced to transition into like action and pick up a guitar and sing a little bit. But I think, yeah, since basically grade school, middle school age, it you know, resonated a lot with me. Yeah, to like be playing music, and yeah, that was probably my best way to be a super involved fan, was to recreate some of the stuff that I was watching, you know, pretty obsessively and listening to. So
I think I literally was in 4th grade watching the Super Bowl halftime show. I think that really did. I went from jock to musician immediately. I ditched the whole football scene, and that's all I wanted to do was play guitar. So something about that. I don't even know who was playing that year, but I can guarantee it was some ridiculous fireworks. Yeah, it potentially was a Janet Jackson set. But yeah, that'll do it.